Welcome to the next episode of the Kitchen Table Pundits podcast. I'm Tyrone.
I'm Travis.
And we are here to talk about the debate. Did you see it? Did you hear about it? Maybe you heard about how riveting of a night it was, how exciting and groundbreaking and transcendent. No, it was boring as fuck. A lot really didn't happen. But we're going to talk about it because while overall, I think Travis, you'll agree, we don't expect to see, any candidates made or broken by this debate. There was still some interesting things that took place.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, I think it was boring. It was below our expectations, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
But they did the thing.
Yeah, I just just listening to people online talking about it. It was on the 15th. We're recording this on the 19th, so we've had a week to digest it up until this point, and the consensus seems to be, there were punches thrown, but no one was walked away saying, "I'm definitely for that guy," or "that guy's dead to me now."
And wasn't moved.
No one was really
much.
moved.
It wasn't.
But some of the things that were discussed brought up some. I guess shine a light on some topics that I think we will discuss, as a country over the next couple of weeks, because we're still talking about healthcare, we're still talking about guns,
equality,
we're still talking about the economy, So, it wasn't anything new, but I guess it served to clarify.
Yeah,
if you had any questions,
clarifying,
then like, I don't think anybody will walk away from this debate saying that they don't see Buttigieg or Klobuchar as more moderate Democrats and Biden, and Warren and Sanders are still firmly progressive. They they didn't flip flop on anything they were saying. Yang's still talking about universal incomes with his wonky policies.
Right.
I mean, they were Senator Booker just wants everybody to get along.
Yeah.
It was pretty lackluster. But we will focus on the things that are worth focusing on. There's a few, at least enough for us to make an hour podcast on it. So, I guess to start it off, I guess we kind of already led into it with our analysis of how we thought the debate was overall. But let's start with winners and losers. Who do you think did good? Who do you think didn't?
So I say my big winner for me is probably Amy Klobuchar.
Okay, why is that?
I think because I think for the first debate, this is the first time she actually grabbed the headlines. This is the first time where she actually was noticed or noticeable.
Right.
She had a lot of good lines, a lot of rehearsed lines. She went after a lot of candidates. She was able to put her vision out there, and she came off as just a moderate Democrat. But I just say she's the big winner because she seems to be getting the most positive news coverage. She seems to be the one that, if anybody moves a little bit in the polls, she might move, a number to, a point or two. So I say she's my big winner because I think she just was the most effective. Her strategy was the most effective. She was managed to gain the headlines, in which that's the point in the debate. You want to be the candidate people are talking about. So she's got a lot of coverage, a lot of tweets, a lot of interviews. So her name's out there. So that's why I say she's the winner. Next, I would say Andrew Yang. I thought Andrew Yang was
Really.
Yeah, I do. I thought Andrew Yang was he was consistent. I thought each debate he gets more and more. It seems like comfortable and more, with his policies and with speaking, and I felt like he held his ground. There's some weak points for him, like with everybody else, but I felt like he didn't. If this was a debate to start, decreasing the field, I think he did more than enough to stay in. And for someone who's not in the top tier, I think he represented, the middle of the pack, bottom tier, the best on the most. And third, I would say Biden, because he did better than the last 3 debates. That's about it. You know what I mean? He didn't impress me. He just you know, he just did better. So I would say he's not a loser. And Mayor Pete, fourth, is a winner. I thought he fended off attacks from Gabbard well. I thought he fended off O'Rourke well. I thought he got headlines. I thought he was combative. I thought he made sense. Losers, I would have to say, my big loser, unfortunately, is Elizabeth Warren, and I was rooting for her. But I felt like she didn't take the front-running status. She seemed more shocked than prepared, you know, from the attacks that she was getting.
Okay.
But I thought when we start really digging deep into her policies and digging deep into what she believes, it's not that I think she's wrong. I just think she has an issue defending what she believes in, and it just didn't come off well to me. I know some people it did, but for me, it didn't look good. And Tulsi Gabbard,
Yeah.
also a big loser. She was she was kind of a disaster. I still don't know what she believes in. I really don't know. You know, she's very inconsistent. I think every debate, I think she's proposed something different from what she proposed previously. So I'm kind of done with her. I kind of would like to see her exit. But that's all I got. Everyone else, I think, just, you know, stayed stagnant. I was impressed by Tom Steyer.
Yeah.
I thought he was impressive because, again, he really doesn't have any qualifications or experience. He uses a lot of money.
Right.
Bought his way on the stage. He was there, and I thought learning what he thinks and what he believes was interesting, and that was I thought he had some good moments.
Yeah, I definitely made a note about Tom Steyer that I want to bring up a little bit down the road, because if you haven't been paying attention, Tom Steyer got into the race probably between the second and third debate.
Yeah.
Around then.
Yeah, around that time.
So he was too new to be a part of the third debate, and then for this debate he literally just had enough signatures.
Yeah.
To not signatures, support donations, to make it on the stage. So that's a whole interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with the people who are on your winner and losers list. I probably rank them differently.
I put Bernie on there too. I thought after coming back from the heart attack, I thought he looked well, and he looked like he was not going to die.
Yeah,
that was everybody's fear.
Pretty much all he had to do.
That was everybody's fear, is that he's frail, and he looked strong, and he looked like he was still ready to go, ready to fight. So that was a win for him, just because of what.
For sure. So I'd say the winners. My top winner would actually be Mayor Pete. I thought Mayor Pete did a real good job of attacking people, calling people on what he perceived was bullshit. I think he did a good job of showing people that, you know, this race is going to go on for a little bit longer. He's going to be there at the end. I think he didn't seem to back down from anybody. He picked fights. He made a name for himself, but he wasn't too over the top with it. He attacked people's policy. He attacked Elizabeth Warren. He attacked Beto, and they seemed to be, caught off guard. So it looked good for him. For different reasons, I think he got Beto off guard because Beto, they got into it over guns. It seemed like Beto didn't really have a plan Beto, to back up his hell yeah, we're taking your guns.
Beto is trying to stay relevant.
Which I thought was, because during the debate I saw, because they went to Beto first. And he just rambled on about, how they're gonna follow the law, and Beto and Mayor Pete goes, look, man, if you think this through, then we could debate about it. But it doesn't sound like you have like a plan. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, like literally 10 seconds before Pete started talking, I'm like, sounds like you don't have that thought out at all,
exactly.
Dude. And Pete picked up on it. So if I was thinking it, Pete was thinking it. A lot of Americans were thinking it. That looked good. Again, Warren, I love what she has to say and her policies and all that. She didn't, for some reason or another, she just couldn't say people's taxes would go up. And I don't know why. Bernie did it. This is the second time when I was looking for video clips from this debate. I accidentally stumbled across ones for the last debate. So this is literally the second time that Bernie's been up there saying, yeah, your taxes will go up, but your costs will go down.
Right.
You'll see a tax increase, but believe me, you'll pay less, and this is why.
Right.
And this is the second time he's done that, and Elizabeth Warren refuses. Like, I don't know if she's thinking that she's going to let Bernie say it and then just ride
on it. Or,
I don't know, but it's weird.
Not coming off well, and I think that is, you know, if she loses the nomination, it's not going to be like, you know, a bunch of huge knockout shots. You know what I mean? It's going to be, you know, blow by blow by blow. She's going to be weakened,
right?
And it's things like this, in my opinion, that are going to weaken her along the line by just, you know, these body blows of not being able to answer. Is doing like unnecessary damage.
Yeah.
You know, like think of her as a character in a game, you know, and she's getting like unnecessarily hit. You know, she's not blocking. And these are really easy attacks, easy blows to block. Yeah. By basically you support Bernie's plan, you support Bernie Sanders and what he's saying, and you know that taxes are going to go up for everybody, but and everyone knows it. Yeah. And you are just refusing to say it. It makes you look kind of, you know, and it just, like that politician that no one wants to be like, you know.
Yeah, and you know. On the same token, though, it's like, because when Bernie defends his "I'm going to raise taxes but lower cost" thing, he likes to focus on what it means for people, right? Yeah. So he's the one saying there's no premiums, there's no deductibles, all that, right? Right. If Elizabeth Warren did her cost thing, said, yeah, like Bernie said, taxes will go up, but here's what that means. Right. Costs will go down, because it would work. It would not only answer the question that everybody's been asking. It's like, if you want to link yourself to Bernie, Bernie's got like half of it he's articulated, you're articulating the other half. Yeah. It's like almost like, not saying that Bernie's is obligated to help her or anything like that, but if you're going to use another candidate's policy to back up your own, and he's got like half of the argument laid out for you, it'd be silly not to couple yourself to it. You know what I mean? And
I know exactly what you mean.
She's trying to couple herself to it, but distance herself, and you can't do both.
Do you think that Elizabeth Warren is concerned that Bernie Sanders' messaging doesn't play well in the general, but his ideas play well in the primary? Almost like she's like, this is what the base wants to hear. This is what gives me the front runner status. Right. But in the back of her mind, she believes that I cannot talk this way in the general, right? And I can't win a general. Do you think she is trying to position herself for a general? Do you think she honestly believes that Bernie Sanders is right, but his messaging is not on? At least she's not comfortable with using his messaging as he is, because he feels like it's going to work in the general, but to be honest, he's been saying the same thing for 2 elections. He's got a primary loss and he's in 3rd place now, so. Right now, his messaging isn't something that has shown that's going to be, something that's going to get him to the general. So, do you think Elizabeth Warren is taking that kind of like, that's where her caution comes? Because, like you said, it would be pretty easy to just say, yeah, this is what Bernie's right. This is what I believe. Yeah, this is going up. This is going to happen. She seems like really, really stubborn on that. Like, I'm not going to say it. Like,
word. It feels that way, right?
Yeah, like she's like, I just refuse to say that, and it seems disingenuous. And then again, that's another body shot blow to her campaign that she doesn't need to take. She doesn't. There's no reason to come off looking disingenuous to people on an issue that people already know the answer to. Right. You know what I mean? So it's not like anyone's been, wait, what? I'm shocked. Like Bernie's been saying it, and he's doing just fine. You know what I mean? The fact that Elizabeth Warren can't say it, it's just making. It makes no sense.
I agree, and it's
just
like
odd.
And it's not even gonna the majority of the damage isn't when it backfires. It's not gonna be the progressive wing of the party.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It's not gonna be a majority of us saying fuck Elizabeth Warren. Right. Majority of progressives will say, all right, we know what you're trying to say. We're with you. It's the people who don't know and that you're trying to win over. They're gonna be like, well, fuck it, we're gonna go with Pete. Or Biden. Yeah. It's just. It's bad strategy. I don't know why she did it. I'm not saying it's going to end her, but I'm saying it's definitely going to boost Pete a little bit.
If it does end her, it's going to be one of the things.
It'll be the start. There's time for her to stop it, but so I think for that reason, just the image damage control that the Warren camp's going to have to do after Pete's attack is for me why I think he's probably the number one. Number 2, I'd say Amy Klobuchar for the reasons you said, so I'd put her at number 2. And number 3, I mean, I guess it's Biden. Biden was strong enough.
Strong enough, right?
To not. I thought this was where the killing blow was going to be dealt. I don't know by who. I didn't have anybody, but I thought he was going to walk away from this weaker. He didn't.
I think because of what's going on with the foreign policy. I think he was strong in foreign policy, and I think that gave him, I think it gave him
the Syria thing.
Right, yeah, I think it made everyone look like he's presidential. I think people are a little nervous with what's going on. People don't understand what's going on out there, but something's going on out there.
Yeah.
And I think for this debate, foreign policy, it was a little bit higher on people's mind. So I think that's why he looked well, because he was able to transition a lot of his answers. To the Syria thing.
And I find that with these things, like, a lot of the times it is the foreign policy that like shields a candidate, both good or bad, like their qualities or their negatives.
Yeah.
It's usually foreign policy, and that's at the top of the mind awareness of the news.
Yeah.
That usually provides a little bit of cover for people's flaws or good proposals if they have them. And I think you're right. I think that's why Biden at the end of the night just looked like Biden. He wasn't.
Yeah, he did everything normal.
Yeah,
and then
but he had the most to lose.
Yeah, and he shined in foreign policy, so he was able to stay consistent and have a moment on something that was, he wasn't really going to be challenged on either. A lot of the candidates are probably not comfortable going after someone who is former vice president, who is in the White House, who has seen things. Yeah, trying to go against him on a foreign policy issue or on this issue would be not that good. So he's not going to be challenged on it. Yeah. So I think it just made him look better because he was able to, come out looking like the foreign policy candidate. Because he is, technically. I mean, there's no one else up there who really has the credentials, if you want to go by credentials.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I'd rank those winners. The loser, I'd say, number 1, I'd put Elizabeth Warren for all the reasons we just mentioned. It's not going to kill, like I said, this isn't going to kill her, but it hurts a lot.
Yeah, it does.
And if it doesn't hurt a lot, at least it looks bad. It looks awkward.
It's
not awkward,
right.
is what it is. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying she's done. I'm just saying it looks real bad. Yeah. Get it together, Liz. I like you. I don't want to.
Yeah, we all like Elizabeth Warren, but we all can agree that that's just that wasn't necessary. But yeah, next, who you have on your list?
And then number 2, I would have Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell she was doing during that debate. She seemed all over the place.
Tulsi Gabbard at the moment. Tulsi Gabbard she seems like she's very unsure of what's going. I mean, she's in the game, but it's almost like she's unsure what team she's on, where the arena's at, what times the start of the game is at. It's like she's playing, but it's like what exactly is your role here?
She's talking about not coming to the debates, and then a week before the debate, she's like, I'll be in the debates, and then she gets to the debates, and she says shit that's different from what she said at the last debate, and then at this debate, she's like going at people for weird fucking shit, like Elizabeth Warren, trying to attack Elizabeth Warren out of the blue on foreign policy. Yeah, that it was sloppy. It was awkward. Yeah. It wasn't like. I'm not saying she couldn't be aggressive, but she's been all over the place. Her problems, she brought in a bunch of problems with her to this debate that didn't have to be there. Yeah. And then her performance, I thought, just compounded it. It made it worse for her. Yeah. She just looked angry. She looked disaffected. She looked like she didn't want to be there.
Right.
Like
she's waiting other for things people. On her mind. What I mean? It just seems like she's just, Yeah, she's a very different person and candidate to begin with, but she just seemed like she just was not interested in the process.
She did herself no favors, and it was honestly kind of bizarre to see somebody just kind of come off the rails like that. She wasn't acting like erratic and crazy like a crazy person, but just like
Donald Trump.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted. She's not like that, but. It just seems like her thoughts ran together. She couldn't make a point. Yeah. And the points she were making were irrelevant or didn't pertain to the actual course of discussion.
She's almost like she doesn't believe some of the things that she says. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's almost like she doesn't believe what she's saying in some cases, and it's just it's very awkward.
So she needs to get it together too, but unlike Elizabeth, I think I don't think she can. Yeah. I don't think she can. And then my third would be Andrew Yang.
Okay.
I think Andrew Yang's a loser, not so much because of what he did. I mean, performance-wise, he did fine.
Yeah.
I just think that he talked about a lot of things. There was like more policy, like more new things, like more ideas that he had that we hadn't heard before. And that's usually a good thing, but with a candidate like Yang, who has so many out of the box proposals as it is,
Yeah.
that people are trying to wrap their head around,
Yeah.
to introduce a whole slate more of unconventional weird
Right,
things that may or may not work.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing where he was talking about the people should get a percentage of every Amazon sale. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay,
You know, I get
I'm
what you're
sure
saying,
if we
but-
go through the weeds on it, it'll make sense and people would
Right.
support it. But okay, now we got to figure this out. We just wrapped our heads around universal basic income.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It seems kind of odd. I mean, basically to create weird policies like that, what you're ultimately saying is that you're trying to figure out how to get more money from the top 1%
Yeah.
to the bottom, 50% of America.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying. So, you don't have to come up with like quirky things like that. You just
Right.
have to like acknowledge that you're going to think, come up with solutions
Yeah.
on how to redistribute the wealth, because that's really what Democrats are saying. I know Obama took a lot of flack for that when he was running in
Yeah.
08 with Joe the plumber.
Yeah.
Redistributing the wealth. But that's ultimately what Democrats are saying, is that, there's more than enough money, but
Right.
most of it is at the top.
Yeah.
We need to figure out ways how to get that to actually trickle down.
Exactly.
And that was, kind of a wonky idea, that shouldn't have been proposed in that debate when you have very little time and you're in like 9th place. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Things like that. You should just stick the I support on redistributing the wealth. And here are my core policies. You should have talked about UBI more, universal basic income more. I thought during the debate,
Yeah.
he should keep pushing that and making people understand that, because I think that ultimately, if he, it may not get him the nomination, it probably won't,
Yeah.
but it definitely could get him looked at as a VP nomination, and for sure, we'll get him in the administration.
Oh yeah, certainly.
So, you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to just stay on that course, stay consistent, and not try to throw out all these wonky ideas that's going to make him just unelectable for any ticket and just toxic and untouchable.
Word.
So I thought that was probably, you're right, some of his weakest moments.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, performance-wise, he did fine.
Right.
He didn't hurt himself. It's just, well, shit, man. Now we got more to think about.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like,
kind of unnecessary.
it felt. Yeah. It's like it felt like I was, as a voter, I was getting some homework.
Yeah. Right. Now I gotta go. See what this is all about.
See what So, I don't think he did himself any favors, but
True.
maybe not as bad as Tulsi. But yeah. So that's what I thought about that. Now, like I said, the debates themselves, when they started getting into topics, there was a few interesting things that came up, a few interesting exchanges and conversations. What specifically during the debate caught your attention? You thought was a good exchange? Thought was attention grabbing? I'll tell you. I'll go first. I'll tell you the thing that I thought was interesting, and isn't even getting nearly as much coverage as I think it should. Was during the gun debate, when they were talking about Beto's plans to take away guns and all that. And Julian Castro. Is it Joaquin? I always mix them up. The Castro.
Oh, yeah.
It's Julian, right?
Yeah,
Julian's right. And Joaquin's like his campaign advisor. So, Jesus. Just take a further role, man, so I can separate you two.
Yeah. Right.
But he was on. It's not racist. They're twins, America. Jesus. Jesus. They're twins. Okay. He was talking about guns, and he goes, where I come from, we're not keen on having police come door to door collecting guns like Beto's might be suggestion, because we know that when cops show up, bad things happen, like they did in Texas, where that lady got shot. And he said, police violence is gun violence, and we got to talk about that too.
Yes, I thought that was.
And I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's the only thing he said during the night, so he didn't really say much else. But I thought that was interesting. I like the balls on that statement. Because credit to Beto, it's already kind of ballsy to be like, hell yeah, we're taking your guns.
Right.
But to up the ante, like Castro did, and be like, yeah, maybe, but I know one thing: cops need to stop shooting motherfuckers around here. That was awesome, and I haven't heard anybody. I mean, I've heard people talk about police violence in vague terms throughout the course of this debate, but to say that we, have a presidential candidate say, I'm going to look into that, I thought was interesting, and I thought it would get more of a response, or inspire the media to get more, to press him more on what he meant by that. But what did you think?
I thought what really grabbed my attention, I guess the first one would exchange would be Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren on healthcare. That really grabbed my attention because I thought it really brought up the healthcare debate, and actually, who's on each side and what the positions are, and why someone like Amy Klobuchar would not necessarily agree with Medicare for all, because it's come to this thing, we're at this issue where Medicare for all is or bust, and there are other plans out there. There are other ways to cover people. There's not just one way. And I thought Amy Klobuchar, when going after Elizabeth Warren, I thought she won that exchange. I thought excellent. Amy wins exchange. I mean, I was taking notes during the debate, and I thought she, mostly because Elizabeth Warren, couldn't answer the simple questions on her own bill. I thought Amy Klobuchar really opened up the debate on healthcare and Medicare for all, and actually made it sound okay to not be for Medicare for all, but be for universal coverage, getting people covered. And I thought she, not just in that exchange, but with other candidates, she made a really good case for quote-unquote moderate Democrats and the policies, and getting people covered, and getting people assistance, and getting people relief in America. She really made the non-democratic socialist approach to it argument sound very appealing. So, but overall, that one exchange on healthcare I thought was really, really, really powerful. It was obviously rehearsed. It was researched, and she made a lot of good points. And Elizabeth Warren wasn't prepared, and I think it's going to get people more of a pause on Medicare for all. People are going to do the research. They're going to see that there is another side to this. You don't have to be one or done, and you need to start learning this stuff and get involved in listening. And I thought that debate between that exchange between those two, and that debate was powerful. And I think it's being covered, but it's not being covered enough, because Medicare for all and health insurance is going to be the issue that this primary is decided on. I think Bernie said in the debate, 87 million people are uninsured or underinsured. This is going to be the issue that people who cast the most votes on. And I thought that exchange was telling on what's coming in the next 4 months before the Iowa caucus and afterwards.
Sure. And I would say another part of the debate I thought was interesting was that healthcare discussion, but for different reasons. I'm looking at it through a progressive lens, and I think what happened during the debate is a textbook example of why progressives need to do better with explaining what the fuck they're doing. And let me elaborate. Like, during that exchange, when the whole discussion on healthcare lasted about 20 minutes. And during that exchange, both Buttigieg and Klobuchar said that just because their plan, let me back up. They said that what Bernie and Elizabeth Warren want to do with Medicare for all is kick X thousand people off of their health insurance.
Yes.
That is not what they want to do. I know it's not what they want to do because I know the policy. Neither Bernie or Elizabeth said, whoa. We want to get rid of private insurers for sure. Bernie did say that, but that was in the conversation with Joe, and that was a different thing. But I'm talking about the attacks. Biden didn't attack Bernie or Elizabeth on healthcare. Buttigieg and Klobuchar did, with that talking point that thousands of people are going to get kicked off of their insurance.
Yeah,
they will get insurance. It will be paid for by the government as opposed to their private insurers. That's what's going to happen. And neither Warren nor Sanders took the opportunity to clarify, wait a minute, that's a little disingenuous. I mean, you're going to have people paying for your insurance. You're going to have different people paying your insurance for you, but you're going to still have insurance. Bernie almost got there by saying you're not going to get any copays. You're not going to have any deductibles. You're going to, out-of-pocket costs, those are going to be gone. Great. Right. But when you don't emphasize that because all those things happen when you don't have insurance, right? So if you're not going to take the extra step and go, that's because the government, my plan, this is what we're going to do, you're going to be covered this way. When you don't say that and just let that hang out there, it's going to hurt you. And I don't think that problem is a problem the progressive candidates have with just healthcare. I think it's with a lot of policies, even the environmental stuff, the student loan stuff, all of that. There's misconceptions out there, and people banking on the fact that average people aren't as connected and won't do their homework, and they're going to take advantage of that, and they should. Because if you're not going to defend it and you're not going to be clear on it, then it's not their job to give you a fair shot to do it. So I don't begrudge Buttigieg or Klobuchar for saying those things. I think they know better, but...
So you think they're fundamentally wrong by saying that? You don't think there's any truth in what they're saying when they say that?
I don't think there's any truth in it.
Because
no.
I think Bernie Sanders...
And I don't think they're wrong, but... I don't think they're wrong to do it. They're clearly wrong on what the policy is. And I get it because they're trying to win a presidential candidacy, nomination rather. So that's fine. But what I'm saying is Warren and Bernie should not only expect that, but be ready to swat that shit down.
Right. Well,
when it comes. And they didn't. And Elizabeth, like I said, Bernie kind of did. When he, made a little bit of a clarification, Elizabeth Warren didn't do it at all. And like you said, healthcare is going to be one of the defining things. It won't be the only thing. It'll be the defining things that people consider when they go to the polls when these primaries get rolling. So, it makes me wince every time there's an opportunity for a progressive to defend their policy, and they don't.
Right,
and I thought that was really highlighted during that exchange with healthcare.
Right, and I think I know. I see where you're going with that, and I just I don't think that I think the problem with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren is that those attacks aren't completely false, as you put it. I don't think they are. I think the truth is that if you have private insurance with Medicare for all, you will be covered, but you will not have the same insurance. That's true. Now, is it disingenuous?
But you
on
could
both
say
people?
that.
Right.
You could say you won't have the insurance you have now. Joe Biden even said it. Joe Biden said the way insurance is, it'll be fundamentally changed the way we know it. That's true.
Right.
He didn't say people were going to be kicked off of their insurance. He didn't say people aren't going to have any. He said it's going to be radically changed. It'll be completely different than what we know it. I hate that. I want to do this.
Right. That's what
That's fine.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm getting to, is that he didn't. It's disingenuous on both parts to say Bernie Sanders is going to write a policy that says, now you have this plan, you're not going to get it. They're presenting that way. What it means is that if we get Medicare for all, we're not going to need your private insurance, so you won't have it. They're trying to frame it as in he's coming and kicking people off.
Right.
And my question to you is that, do you think that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren know that they're going to have to also address that part of their policy too, even though...
That's what I'm saying. They should. They need to.
And do you think they may not actually have an actual answer for people who are out there? People who are out there who are like, I don't want to lose my health insurance. I like it now. Nothing should change. Do you think there's a way that they can actually convince these people that Medicare for all is the best thing. And is there and I haven't seen the numbers either. Are they going to be able to produce like what the taxes are going to be, and are they going to be able to prove that you're going to pay this much more and this is cheaper than the plan that you like now? Are they going to be able to do that? And are they not ready to do that? Do they not have the answers on that yet?
Look,
is that why these attacks are kind of landing in the way they are? As disingenuous as they are, the way they are presented, do you think that they're landing because the campaigns just aren't ready to actually have that argument and be like, yeah, your taxes are going to go up $80? Yeah. Do they not have an argument to the person who pays $60 for health insurance and like it? You know what I mean? Is that where they're at? Could that possibly be it? Because they should be prepared. They should, because they are disingenuous attacks. They shouldn't be, you should be able to push those back and say, no, everyone's paycheck they're going to increase taxes by $35, but the average American pays $60 for their health insurance now. So they're going to get the same insurance for $30 a week and not $50 a week or whatever it is.
Sure.
Why is that rebuttal not ready? And that's
and that's what I'm worried about. Look, I don't know if they got the rebuttals ready or not. But I know that's obviously something that's got to be talked about when we're talking about, healthcare, Medicare for all. So, why, if they have answers for those questions and they're not on the ready, I don't know why. I at the same time though, I don't see Mayor Pete or Amy Klobuchar coming out with anything outside of this attack saying this is different. It's different and it'll work. And they're both kind of in the same boat. Both people are saying, we've gotten to the point now where both sides are saying we have different visions for healthcare.
Yes.
But neither of them are going to great lengths to explain why theirs will work.
Right.
No one's saying why. Everybody's saying what it'll do, what the plan is, but no one's brought up. The only difference between the moderate Democrats and the progressive Democrats is that the moderate Democrats are willing to say that the progressive Democrats are going to do something that isn't going to happen, at least not in the way that they're portraying it'll happen. Mm-hmm. There's no progressive, there's no identical thing that Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren are saying. They're saying we got to take on the corruption, and they're saying we got to save people money, and they're saying we got this thing and it'll work, but they're not saying the moderates want to do something to you that's not true.
Right.
So that's why it makes the hairs on my neck stand up a little bit, because there's nothing that egregious coming from our side that way, from the progressive wing to the moderate. You see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, as someone who supports a lot of moderates, and I see a lot of disingenuous attacks as well. I mean, it's,
I'm just saying as far as healthcare,
right?
Healthcare
right?
thing.
Yeah. Just the total inability to not even admit anything positive about the Affordable Care Act. You know what I mean? That has done so much good. And, for me, and from my perspective, it's like, I have these people railing against me and yelling at me about, universal health care and Medicare for all. And it's like, wow, these people must really care about coverage for people who need it. And it's like, how could someone who I believe cares so much about this not acknowledge all the good that's already been done? I constantly hear it wasn't enough. It was subpar. It was half a bill. And I think instead of talking about what didn't get accomplished, we should talk about the success stories and the people who got covered and use those and highlight those as to say, this is why everyone needs health insurance. This is why everybody should have coverage they can afford, because look at this success. Regardless how we get there, look at the success stories. And I see a lot of people on the far left who are like, you know what, we're not even going to talk about that, because if we talk about the Affordable Care is working, that gives people more excuses to not get Medicare for all, and that's what we want. And that brings us back to my Amy Klobuchar point, is that I thought she did a really good job, and Buttigieg, both, they did a really good job of showing people, hey, look, we want to cover everybody, and we have a vastly different proposal here, or a different way of doing it, but our goals are the same. We want all people to get covered. And I feel like sometimes the far left makes it seem like the moderates want to leave people out, and they're the only ones who want to get everybody covered, and that's not true. either.
Mhm.
It's just there's different opinions, and as of right now in the Democratic Party, those different opinions have not been met well by all sides. We
Yeah.
can't seem to you know, compromise on anything or even agree that we all want the same thing.
Mhm.
So that's I think there's an element in the far left that honestly thinks that moderates are just bought cronies that do not care, and it's unfortunate because someone like me, it's painfully obvious that if you think that person X or Y or Z they're a bought crony, it's like you obviously haven't been paying attention, you obviously haven't followed their career, you haven't done your research. You know what I mean? They they've taken money, this or that, whatever, but I think the perceptions of a lot of people in the middle of the party are just flat out wrong on the far left, and I think a lot of politicians on the left have done a disservice to people by pushing certain narratives that they know aren't true about people in the establishment, quote unquote establishment or moderates. Um, that's just my opinion on all that. I just feel like,
I mean, I just counter and say that the corrupt Democrats that are out there haven't, done anything to help either. When you
no,
got people taking all kinds of campaign contributions from lobbyists for big pharma and the oils and gas companies and fucking voting against anti-fracking laws and shit like that. Those guys aren't helping the moderates who really do want to try
right,
to. So, I guess that what I would say to sum up the whole thing in healthcare, as far as the divide
right,
between the progressives and moderates during this race, is that we get it. The American people get it. Bernie and Liz have something. Pete and Amy have something. They're different. Tell us why. Tell us why we need to. Tell me why, as a progressive, I should fucking be like, you know what? I think Amy and Pete got it, and the same is true for them. Tell the moderates why, they shouldn't be like, Amy and Warren and Bernie got this. Sounds like they got this figured out. They like neither side's done that. I thought we'd get some of that in this debate. We didn't. If we don't by the next debate, then I I don't know.
no, I know.
I don't know how. I don't know how it does. How people are supposed to expect to make an informed decision on the future on their healthcare
Right.
healthcare, because neither the moderates or the progressives are doing a good job at presenting why. Their plans. I mean, Amy Klobuchar is right. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad, right? So
Right.
explain it to me. And neither side seems
Right.
to have done that. And like I said, I thought we would get some of that tonight instead of rehashing the same thing. Which leads me to my next point. I don't really blame any of them for that now that I think about it, because the moderators
man. Yeah.
had it's their job to ask questions. We've been through this before. Again for the fourth debate. How you gonna pay for it? You guys want Medicare for all. How you gonna pay for it? Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else we're gonna tell you. They've gone through this over and over again. Outside of that, what do we have? We had questions on Syria. All right, that's in the news. We had some questions on reproductive health. We had some questions on the economy, and we had people asked. We had impeachment. That was entirely too long of a conversation, if you ask me. Everybody's fucking individual stances on impeachment was a little much. It could have been a 30-second thing. You would support impeachment? Yes, no, or what?
Right,
Yes, no,
right.
or why? And then we had who was the weirdest friend you ever had?
Yeah, that was an odd question.
That's fucking weird. It's stupid, and I thought at this juncture that the news would have more substantive questions, would take their obligation to provide people with information a little more urgently, and they did not.
Right.
I thought they failed. What do you think?
I thought the moderators just I think they were just trying to get people in arguments or trying to get the the fiery moment, the headlines.
Yeah.
I don't really think they were really too concerned about having a real substantive debate.
Yeah.
I think they just cared about the ratings.
Yeah.
The questions were just kind of weak, and it just didn't seem like they really were trying.
Yeah.
To get people to have an actual real policy discussion. They were trying to get people in arguments. They were trying to pin people against each other. And there's plenty of time for that. I think people honestly, like you said, the healthcare. Like, I think people honestly want to know, how are you going to pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? Is it paid for? Does it work? If talk about that kind of stuff instead of just trying to get some kind of gotcha moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, use the facts that are outlined and go from there and have a real discussion. But they didn't do that. They're just concerned about ratings and trying to start a fight. So this is CNN's second debate, is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the questions, but
yeah, me neither. Like, instead of being like, "Hey, Senator so and so, Vice President Biden said you were this. How does that make you feel?" Like, they should have been like, Senator Klobuchar. Bernie says that he's gonna impose a 1 cent tax on Wall Street speculation to help fund Medicare for all and to relieve student college loan debt. Explain to the people why you don't think that'll work.
Yeah,
that's a question.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
That's a good question.
Exactly.
Like, instead of, oh, hey, Mayor Pete, no, hey, Beto, Mayor Pete said you were stupid for saying you were going to take guns away. How does that make you feel? Like, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing right now? So, total failure by CNN to do their duty.
There's plenty of questions I would have liked to ask, versus...
The New York Times had their name on that, too, so...
Yeah.
As a former print journalist, you should be ashamed of yourself, national editor, so and so. That was terrible. Ask better questions.
I agree.
So, so the media sucked, and there was also the kind of funny things that I picked up on, and I thought it was worth noting. I don't know if you picked up on them, but they're just kind of hilarious things that first off, I think Klobuchar has been talking to like a comic or something. Yeah.
she is so bad at delivering
like
jokes.
Those jokes, dude.
Oh my goodness. She's so bad at delivery, it's just
This was not meddling. Meddling is what I do when I call my daughter when she's on a date.
Right? She's just not a funny person.
What are you doing?
Every time I look at her and she tries to be funny, I just think of her eating a salad with a fucking comb. You know what I mean? That's all I can see. It's like I cannot see anything else. Like, you're a horrible boss. You're a horrible person. That's all I can see looking at you. You know what I mean? It's like you don't deliver a joke to me because you're just She
did it like 4 times.
Yeah.
Shitty, terrible jokes.
Right.
In the middle of answers to like some tough questions. There's a time and a place for it.
Yeah.
You can't pull that off though.
No.
Stop.
Every dickhead manager has bad jokes though. Anywhere you work, any fucking dumb manager, any asshole manager, they always have stupid jokes. They think they're the funniest person in the room, and that's exactly what she shows up with, these horrible jokes that obviously were supposed to get huge applause lines and laughs, and they don't even get like a chuckle. It's just like, no. It
was bad.
So,
I'm a stand-up comedy fan, and that... Learn how to read a room, lady.
Yeah, man.
Learn how to read a room. That was funny. I also thought it was funny. Fucking Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete, what are you gonna do to ensure that the America's reputation on the world stage is restored? Well, as a guy from Midwest America, as a guy where I'm from, Midwest Industrial America. In Midwestern Industrial America, where I'm from, I drive my Chevy with my dad in mid-industrial America. We get it, Pete. We get it.
We get it. Yeah, exactly.
You're from the heartland.
Right? Yeah.
So we get it.
We understand what you're trying to do.
What fucking 1940s advisor is this fucking guy talking to?
Yeah.
Make sure you let them know that you're from the heartland, see? You're not one of those big city liberals. You gotta connect to the people. Like,
Yeah.
we get it, man. You're from the heartland. Every 5 minutes, Mayor Pete. Like, we don't know where Indiana is.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
It doesn't even, it would have worked in the economy discussion they had.
Uh-huh.
There's no reason to bring that shit up during the healthcare debate.
Oh, yeah. No,
Like, what the fuck does being from Great Bend have to do with the fact that people gotta pay fucking a skyrocketing premium?
He's trying to look relatable. You know, it's just, you know, everyone, like you said, it's a funny moment. It's funny trying to watch everyone jockeying and trying to do this and appear to be that guy or that girl. And, you know, it is funny watching this, watching them in the debates, you know, and the little punchlines and their little, you know, little anecdotes of where they grew up and this and that, and just trying to be like, look, see, we're in Ohio. See, I'm just like you. Vote for me. You know, it's not going to get them any votes. But for whatever reason, their advisors tell them that they have to, you know, appear to be relatable.
It's not effective, though,
right? Yeah, they just come off looking.
It's not going to move people.
Inauthentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you say relatable, you have to look authentic. You know what I mean? And that's a big reason why Trump won. Is because he was authentic, you know what I mean? He was, you know, a blowhard idiot, you know, from New York City.
You got what you saw.
Exactly. You know, and at least people knew what they were getting, and I think that goes a long way. And, you know, so there's those little snippets of, you know, where you grew up and trying to be relatable to the voter is just stupid. You just got to be yourself.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So what did you think of Tom Steyer?
I thought
I wanted to talk about him specifically for a minute because that motherfucker ain't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But he was there. I wrote down in my notes, Tom Steyer replaces Bill de Blasio. Because he came out there much in the same fashion of Bill de Blasio is like, I am an aggressive progressive. Granted, I'm rich. But I am here. I'll give him credit, man. He talked about a lot. If Warren or Bernie said 80% of the shit he said, I'd be like, fuck yes. Right?
Right.
So, it wasn't the message, but it still felt odd. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, it did feel odd. I was impressed by his message. I actually really loved the exchange. That was my second favorite exchange with him and Bernie. When Bernie basically said, yes, billionaires shouldn't exist, and the only billionaire on the stage is like, yeah, you're right.
He's like, yeah, you're right. I mean? And it was like, oh, really?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I thought that was a great exchange, you know, so I don't know if he's presidential material. Mm-hmm. Again, he's definitely cabinet material. I don't know about vice president material, but you definitely want him in the room. Yeah. You know, he's a rich guy, he has a lot of experience, and he's talking to things, and he believes in a certain way. You know, but it did come off as a little uncomfortable because, you know, he bought his way up there. He spent something like $48 million in the last year, something ridiculous, like, you know, $50 million in the last 90 days. You know what I mean? He is just, you know, I mean, this is Ross Perot on steroids. You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, it worked for Ross Perot, and I do think that if he continues this path by the next debate, he will definitely be measurable in the polls. I think after hearing his message and seeing the amount of money he's willing to spend and the amount of money he's spent, it will be odd if at some point Tom Steyer is not in the top 5 somewhere. It would just be weird because that message works. He delivered it well. It just seems awkward because he's just this rich guy who showed up. Yeah. He's the guy with the ads on TV. Yeah. But again, in 90 days, he's got himself on the debate. He's got, you know what I mean?
So you're saying it's his race to lose at this point? Because he's got the messaging. He's obviously got the resources. So it's up to him.
Pretty much. I think that if he can just stay as a coherent candidate, hit this message, stay out of scandal, and spend a shitload of money on whatever he wants, and and get his name out there, people will get to know him. They'll say, okay, he's somewhat of a likable guy. I don't have any issues with him, and I think he can make himself competitive at least. You know, he may not be able to win, but he can definitely make himself competitive and make and jumble up the primary. It would be very, very weird if the amount of money he spent and with this message, that he doesn't get a bump sometime at some point, where he's in there and he has a shot, and he gets to a point in the race where, okay, now you're in spitting distance, it's your race to lose. Like, you're within 9 points or whatever. Like, this is your race to lose. You've done the thing. You've got to 12 points. You have 13 points, whatever, in a 10-person race. Now you're at the point, like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
He's definitely got that moment coming up in the next 4 months, which will be interesting. But yeah, I was impressed. Really, I was impressed. Because I didn't know what I was going to get from him. I was impressed, but again, how he got there, why he's there, big question mark. So
I tell you what, it's up until this point, there's been a lot of talk in establishment media circles and from pundits on MSNBC that people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren hate rich people unless it's them.
Yeah.
And that if you have money in this country, people are just going to take what you have and give it to the poor for no reason. And that if you're rich, there's a target painted on your back. I think Tom Steyer inadvertently is going to put all that nonsense to rest. Because Tom Steyer, if he stays on the track that he's on, he's going to go out there, he's going to be talking a big populist message, people are going to be bringing up his bank account, he's going to be like, hell yeah, I got mad bags.
Yeah.
And I'm using it to fight corruption. I would gladly pay my fair share of taxes.
Yes.
I would gladly make it so I couldn't acquire, this much influence in Washington through lobbying and donations. I would gladly do all these progressive things to help, people who don't have as much as me.
Yeah.
And without even, and nobody, Warren, Bernie, and Steyer don't even have to mention anybody's name.
Yeah.
And that's automatically, you can't throw those allegations at Bernie because he's not going to be out there shit talking Steyer because Steyer isn't the billionaire he's talking about.
Right.
Neither is Warren. At the same time, he's not going to be out there shit talking the progressives because he's talking on the same fucking policy platforms as them.
And
so it'll be interesting to see how. That's what I'm looking forward to. Looking towards seeing how he registers with the media and the pundits. Right. Because he's a different billionaire. And
he is currently polling, I think, 4th or 5th place in South Carolina.
Jesus.
And not a lot of states he's not showing up. For some reason, he's at like 6, 7, 8 points consistently. There's something going on in South Carolina with him. Yeah. Like something that you got, because they say you got to put stake in one of these early states. Yeah. And I think for some reason, South Carolinians like him. The money is definitely resonating there. Yeah. And I think when you got, New Hampshire and Iowa and Nevada and South Carolina, you got these 4 early states. If you're going to stay relevant after these states pass, you have to win one of them or come in strong second. Sure. And I think Steyer is probably, when he breaks out, it's going to be around the South Carolina time.
That's what it would have to be. That's what it would have to be. Just because of time, sheer logistics. Right. That's what it would have to be.
I think
so. Yeah, I think him joining in the race was interesting. Like you said, I was impressed that he didn't come out there. I say he replaced de Blasio in the sense that he just came out there with hardcore progressive ideas and stances on issues, and it didn't look so good for Bill de Blasio. I don't know why it works better with him for Steyer than with Bill.
Because Steyer's more likable. Steyer doesn't come off as an asshole. He comes off as off-down. He's not very polished. He's basically, I'm this rich guy with a lot of money.
And I want to help.
That's it's kind of like, oh, okay, like, thanks. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, okay, like, we appreciate it, because he's just like, I tried to run the ads and now I'm doing the thing. I'm doing whatever I can do to rectify this situation. And I think people respect that, and I think, he's more likable than De Blasio.
That a lot.
Yeah. Right, I think
he'll be more.
He's got his hands dirty. Yeah, he's like, I'm in it. He's fixing the car. He's dirty. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm spending my own money, millions of my own money. I'm leaking money. I'm trying. And ultimately, his goal is to make sure America is more progressive. Yeah. So I think we all can respect that, and I think he's more likable than De Blasio. I think De Blasio was just not likable. Yeah. And I think you look at Steyer and be like, he's really been in on this for 2 years, trying to sound the alarm bells, trying to spend money on getting people aware of what's going on and spreading a more progressive message. So, I think he brought his way on the stage, but he did the thing. He earned his spot there after that, and I think he deserves to be around because he's
I like
he paid for it. I like to see I give him, you can stay. He paid to get in.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't hate you just because you have money. Right. If you got good ideas and you understand what's going on and you want to help with the political revolution, motherfucker, pick up a flag. Let's go.
Absolutely.
So I'll take it. I don't have anything bad. It was odd to see him there.
Yeah.
It was odd to
it
see
was-
him out of nowhere there
right.
and talking that hard, talking that mess.
Right, yeah.
It was
showing off,
just
like,
a little jarring, like, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing how it'll affect the process going forward. And then just to wrap up, there's one more thing I wanted to touch on with you because I thought this was interesting. Because I don't recall having heard conversations like this, but towards the end of the debate, there was a good 5, 10 minute, 15-minute discussion on possibly reworking the Supreme Court. They was talking about they were talking about abortion rights and reproductive rights, and it led into a conversation about reforming the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land.
Yeah.
And people came out with different ideas, putting term limits on, adding more justices, taking justices away.
Yeah.
And that was just conversation I don't think I've ever
that was
anybody
different.
running for office talk about. How did you feel about hearing about, how our candidates would like to approach the Supreme Court as an institution, let alone as it regards reproductive rights?
Yeah, I think I like the idea. I'm more for term limits. I don't think we should be packing the court. I think Joe Biden kind of hit on that.
Yeah.
To not pack in the court. I don't think, we should add more justice because, it's just going to be seesaw back and forth. We're going to add. I think we need to just basically add term limits, maybe 10 years and you're done. Something, maybe not, line up with the presidential election, but something kind of odd, maybe 9 years. I don't know, something to where, you have to be reappointed. And it doesn't matter what year it falls on, whoever's the president is, and I think that helps, knowing that we're going to get fresh blood and different ideologies in there.
Yeah.
And
it's something I honestly haven't thought a lot about.
Yeah, right. And I think
we've got 9 justices. We're stuck with them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like that's what we get. That's what we get. So I never even thought of reforming the Supreme Court. Never occurred to me.
It needs to be reformed. I mean, these people are there for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just seems odd to have all this power.
Yeah.
And I get the idea behind it. The Supreme Court's supposed to enforce the law, but again, they can be partisan like anybody else. So I think,
But that's just completely random. But it goes to a point that we've made in this podcast repeatedly. People don't understand that politics is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you and I have, not even you and I, you and some rando on the street have a dispute.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Somebody's going to call the cops.
Right.
There's going to be charges. We're going to have to go to court.
No.
There will be a case. Things get dropped. There's a verdict. If not, you can appeal, and you can take it all the way up to the Supreme Court if it's severe enough.
Yes.
The Supreme Court, where it's split with more conservatives than progressives.
Yeah.
So the legal system is political.
It's political. Right.
The thing that we use to get along and regulate ourselves is inherently political.
Right.
The body passing the laws you have to abide by is inherently political. Like, you're getting a traffic ticket, and the court you go to, it'll depend on if that guy's a conservative or a liberal, and how they view people who speed, who go 45 and a 35. And like, it's inherently political. And because you didn't want to vote last year, now you got a conservative judge who's gonna fucking think of your ticket in a way that might hurt you, as opposed to a Democratic judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah,
so,
it is political, and that's just how it is. That's how the world is, and that's why I go crazy when people say they don't vote, they don't participate. It drives me crazy because, like you said, it is all political. It all comes back to politics. You have to know how to be a politician. You have to know what's going on. You have to get involved if you're going to see change, because that's the bottom line. Change comes from our politicians. It comes from politics. Period. Yeah. Government, enforces change. You have to participate in your government if you're looking for change. And there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of grievances and are looking for a lot of change that don't participate. Right. And just the Supreme Court, this is a good issue to show you like how important it is to participate, because not only lack of participation has led to somebody like Donald Trump. It has allowed someone like Donald Trump to appoint 2 justices and maybe even 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And politics have ensured that these justices are now extremely conservative and they're going to be there for life.
For life.
Politics also...
in a country that's progressive as fuck.
Right.
We have the most conservative
right.
fucking Supreme Court that we could have as a country.
Politics stopped another president from fulfilling his constitutional duties and nominating a justice. The Republicans didn't even allow him to do that, so they basically stole a seat and stole this lifetime appointment. So, this is how important it is to get involved, because all the decisions for the next 30 years that are going to be affected by what Republicans and Mitch McConnell did to Barack Obama's choice for the Supreme Court, and what the lack of participation did in electing Donald Trump and what he did to the Supreme Court. Yeah. Neil Gorsuch, now granted, I don't think Neil Gorsuch is actually that terrible. He's a conservative and he's going to fuck a lot of things up, but it's the Merrick Garland one that that really bothers me. That's gonna hurt for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I thought that whole dynamic was very interesting, that Democrats are now talking about it out in the open, about how to make sure that branch of government is working for everybody and not just the joke that it's become, because it's become a joke. Yeah. They're the law of the land, and this is how they are selected, and this is how their seats are traded and dealt with, and it's unfortunate. So yeah, I'm glad to see that we're actually talking about it out loud.
Word. I think it's interesting that we seem to wrap up every podcast with telling people to get involved and do shit.
I know.
Just always seems to point that way. Weird how that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird how it just comes down to people getting involved and educating themselves.
Yeah, that's simple.
With that, get involved. Educate yourself.
Yeah.
And if you agree or disagree with that sentiment, you can send those disagreements or approvals to us via email at thebestkitchentablepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. And you can find us here again next week with more talk on all things political. We are the Kitchen Table Podcast. Kitchen Table Pundits Podcast.
Yeah, you'll get it right eventually. Eventually you will have it right. And we'll be good.
We'll figure this all out by the time we see y'all next week. Thanks for listening. Y'all stay up.
Bye, guys.